performed witchcraft on him, but the district attorney would not comment on the state of his mental health. Irving is expected in court at 9 o'clock this morning. We're live in Oakland. I'm James Torres, KTVU. Fox 2 News.
All right, James, thank you. Time now 7:03. In San Francisco, the police are investigating the death of an infant boy as a homicide. Police say the baby boy was brought to California Pacific Medical Center on Van Ness Avenue back in September with life-threatening injuries. The hospital staff alerted the police the following day, and the baby died on November 3rd. Because of the suspicious nature of his death, homicide detectives are leading the investigation. So far, no arrests have been made. And happening today, San Francisco police will hold a town hall meeting giving an update on a shooting involving a police officer earlier this month. Now, it happened about a week ago near Market and O'Farrell. The police opened fire while they tried to detain a man and his dog who was off a leash. And that dog reportedly bit one of the police officers. The man and the dog were both shot in the leg. We hope to get more clarity on the timeline of what happened out there during that town hall meeting at 3 p.m.
The San Francisco School Board is set to make interim superintendent Maria Su the permanent head of the district. The board is expected to offer her a 2-year contract. San Francisco Unified is currently facing huge budget cuts, possible school closures, and a threatened teacher strike. Su is a former city administrator whose contract expires in June. Some members of San Francisco's teachers union oppose the move and say they want an educator to run the district. Tonight, Vallejo Public Schools will host a 4th and final town hall about school closures and consolidations. That district's facing a budget shortfall of more than $15 million. Administrators released a list of 7 schools under consideration to close or be consolidated. 2 or 3 schools are likely shut down for next year. Tonight's meeting starts at 6. It's at the Vallejo High School auditorium. People can offer their opinions and they can hear about the budget and next steps in the process. The board is expected to make a final decision on campus cuts next month. San Jose leaders opened another interim housing site to help get people off the street. It's the 11th site opened so far this year. It'll house 136 people, bringing San Jose's interim capacity to 1,100. City leaders also cleared up some confusion over the fate of some who are transitioning from interim to permanent housing after a mix-up caused by notes posted to motel doors of emergency housing. The motel program stipulates that a resident has to move in 3 days when permanent housing is found.
That was some miscommunication.
So this isn't the kind of thing where somebody like 3 days is going to be knock, 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 get out.
Right. It's not going to be that. So this is about providing them the best option within the entire portfolio for them to be situated and for opening up the beds for those who are coming behind them.
San Jose is expected to open more housing sites next year.
All right, Garcia, time 7:06. Later today, Marin County supervisors scheduled to step into a battle over affordable housing in San Rafael. Last night, the San Rafael City Council approved a plan to turn a vacant lot into the temporary cabin village for the unhoused. The vote could pave the way for a permanent housing development of up to 80 units. But this proposal has sparked a heated debate. A local homeowners group claims city leaders pushed that project ahead in secret and may have violated California's open meeting law.
We are not opposing help for the homeless. We are opposing the secrecy that has defined this entire project.
There's been no public process, no transparency, no criteria presented.
Now, the city council vote was unanimous, but Marin County supervisors still have to approve the proposed funding for the project. Thousands of condo owners in San Francisco could have to pay as much as $300,000 to install fire sprinklers in their units. It's all linked to an ordinance that requires automatic fire sprinklers in every room of high-rises that are built before 1975. That work doesn't have to be completed for 10 years. But the Chronicle reports homeowners associations at several buildings, they're already starting to collect thousands of dollars a month to pay for the word. That could include major construction or repairs.
New this morning, popular gaming platform Roblox is rolling out new safety features. Roblox is set to announce that users must undergo a facial age check before gaining access to chat features on its platform. It'll also roll out age-based chats that'll limit conversations to those within a similar age group. The new features come after multiple investigations showed children were being exposed to harmful content and having unsupervised chats with adults on the platform. The state of Florida recently launched a criminal investigation against Roblox. An internet service outage that impacted several major websites early this morning has been resolved. San Francisco-based Cloudflare started having issues around 4 a.m. that slowed websites including X, Spotify, and Amazon, and the video game League of Legends. Cloudflare, which provides service to help websites block cyber attacks, says the issue has been resolved. Tech professionals will head to downtown San Francisco today for the first day of the Microsoft Ignite 2025 convention. The annual conference brings together IT professionals, developers, and industry leaders to explore the latest innovations in technology. The keynote speeches will be held at Chase Center. The convention itself is at Moscone. The conference runs through Thursday. Traffic and street closures are expected in areas near Chase and Moscone centers.
Time is 7:09, and we have kind of a big backup at the Bay Bridge. I think part of it was people were held back for a bit on 80 earlier. Let's go right to the Bay Bridge. People were held back on 80, and then they all showed up at the same time. And also, the San Mateo Bridge had an issue for a little while that may have made people decide not to use it and use the Bay Bridge instead. The San Mateo Bridge is recovering from some earlier issues, and right now the lanes are open, but the traffic is pretty heavy. It's kind of normal-ish, though. 80 westbound, as I said, it did have some earlier issues. It's pretty jam-packed from San Pablo all the way down into Berkeley. We haven't talked a lot about the South Bay, the Santa Clara Valley, but some of these Silicon Valley commutes are beginning to load up, especially 85 northbound in southern San Jose as you head over to Cupertino and Sunnyvale. The peninsula traffic, though, looks okay, and the Dumbarton Bridge is now beginning to get a little action, too. That's busy from halfway across to University. 7:10. Let's go back to the desk.
All right, Sal. Well, the number of cases of chronic kidney disease, they are spiking across the country. Why is it happening, and why some doctors say we should be concerned?
Oakland is considering expanding the use of high-tech surveillance cameras to improve public safety. How the system works and the safeguards police say are in place to protect people's privacy.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
7:13, some new video to go with that breaking news we've been reporting in San Francisco here, where a truck ended up on the side of an apartment building. San Francisco Fire just sent us this video showing the aftermath. There are at least 3 vehicles involved in the crash. As Sal's been reporting, it's all happening near Lombard and Broderick in the Marina District. The fire department says the driver of the pickup truck and 1 person inside the building are damaged. Here we see someone taking video walking right up to the crash itself. We have a crew heading to the scene as well. We will continue to bring you updates on this breaking news here. 2 people injured after a car crash in San Francisco's Marina District. Stay away from the area if you can. We'll, of course, focus on the traffic implications as well throughout the morning. Other stories we're following here at 7:14. I'd like to bring in a live picture. In Washington, accusers of Jeffrey Epstein are joining congressional members, including South Bay Representative Ro Khanna and Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene on Capitol Hill. They're among the congressional leaders calling for the release of all investigative files involving the convicted sex offender. The House could vote today to compel the Justice Department to release the files. A Tennessee judge has blocked the use of National Guard troops in Memphis. The judge ruled Tennessee Governor Bill Lee's deployment of troops who've been patrolling Memphis since early October is unlawful. The judge put that ruling on hold, giving the government 5 days to appeal. This all comes as hundreds of National Guard troops deployed to Portland and Chicago are being sent home. Court challenges against those deployments continue.
Our time now 7:15. A former pilot for Alaska Airlines who tried to turn off the engines during a passenger flight will not spend more time in prison. The sentence of Joseph Emerson includes credit for time served plus 3 years supervised release. Emerson's lawyer says he sought treatment for alcohol abuse since that incident, and he is now sober. It's 7:15 tonight. The Oakland City Council may decide whether to approve the expansion of the police department's network of license plate reading cameras. KTVU's Andre Sr. is here now to tell us about the latest push for more of these cameras and the privacy concerns. Good morning, Andre.
Good morning to you, Dave. The Oakland Police Department will make its case to the Public Safety Committee during a City Hall meeting tonight. OPD is pushing for this expansion, saying these high-tech cameras have been tremendously effective in tracking down criminals. Police released surveillance video taken during the past year to back up their case. The department says the Flock surveillance camera network has helped police identify and locate vehicles used in crimes ranging from armed robbery to carjacking. Police now want to install as many as 40 new cameras across the city as part of a proposed 2-year contract extension. The department says the camera system has several safeguards in place to protect the privacy of city residents.
Video is completely siloed off just to the department. So only the department can access that video, retain that video related to an investigation. Whereas Flock ALPR has some sharing protocols that we have with other agencies, but the video cameras themselves in this situation are not being shared outside of the city of Oakland.
However, the Flock camera system is still raising privacy concerns in Oakland and many other parts of the United States. This past August, Illinois Secretary of State says he learned U.S. Border Patrol agents had tapped into the state's license plate reader system as part of the recent immigration crackdown there.
This put them in direct violation of Illinois law. We immediately ordered Flock to turn off Border Patrol's access to Illinois data.
Last month, those concerned, the same city panel approved the license reading camera back in 2023. Both critics and supporters of the camera system expected to express their views at tonight's Public Safety Committee meeting. It starts at 6:30 at Oakland City Hall. Garcia.
Andre, thank you. 7:17, we just had those pictures to go with the breaking news in San Francisco. Sal's been reporting on what's happening there in the Marina District.
Yeah, and it's fortunately, it hasn't caused as big of a backup on the Golden Gate Bridge as we thought. But let me just take you there again with these pictures of these cars into a building on the Broderick near Lombard. The problem is that there was a huge response from fire, including heavy rescue 1 that you see there, and engine and truck 16, the whole 9 yards. And they did have a lot to see for people getting off the Golden Gate Bridge. Let's go back, and we will have a live report from the scene coming up. I want to go back to my map, though, and let me get rid of the icons here. And Okay, so it looks like we do have traffic that's improving in the area just a little bit. Got rid of that icon, but there is a little bit of a backup that's unexpected. Now that we're here, let's talk about the Bay Bridge. The Bay Bridge is backed up all the way out to the maze. Also, earlier problems have something to do with this, of people showing up at the Bay Bridge. Some people may have been avoiding the San Mateo Bridge. It had earlier issues, and just kind of a generally slow morning, including Highway 4 and 680 in Contra Costa County. 7:19, almost 7:19. Let's bring Steve back in.
I guess I better provide some good news for once, huh?
Yes, sir.
Boy, it's been a tough morning for the commute there, but we do have improving conditions for us. There's still some drizzle out there, maybe a little bit of light rain, Santa Clara Valley, but we're on the drier side here. And sun and clouds, more sun today. It'll be nice, but not very warm. After a first real cold day yesterday, especially around the noon hour, that wind was cranked up. It was cold, upper 50s on the temps. Our low's on its way to Southern California, and just, there it goes. There is a little bit of rain there. It's just hard to see, but it's mostly below the radar beam there. 40s on the temps. Santa Rosa's 45, Sonoma County Airport. Sonoma says we're 44. Menlo Park, Sunnyvale, 49. Livermore's in there. Walnut Creek, Concord, Brentwood as well. 47, Woodside. Stanford campus was 46, now 48. And low 50s, San Mateo Coast, low 50s, Foster City, San Mateo, Belmont, and Los Altos. And Los Altos Hills are in lockstep this morning. They were 47, now they're both 48. 30, Truckee, South Lake Tahoe, Reno at 36. Mammoth has dipped to 28. And Winnemucca says, hey, we're 2 bids. Finally, some snow made it up there after a series of these warm systems. They were rainers, but they were not snowers. This one was 7 to 12 inches of snow fell. Mount Rose picked up a foot. Our system is kicking out and moving towards central and southern California, so it'll provide them with some more rain, although this does not look like a big deal, but they'll still get some out of it. We'll get a break Wednesday. Our next rain looks to be Thursday night. It's weakening with time here. Forecast models are really trending kind of weaker with this. It'll still drop right in on them, so we'll get some rain out of it, but the amounts look to be about 1/10 to maybe 1/3 of an inch, to 4/10 maybe in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I think that'll do it. After that, everything is pointing towards a drier pattern, at least for about 5 or 7 days. I don't trust the forecast models past around the Thanksgiving time, but maybe 28th, 29th, something will come in here. It's kind of looking that way. November, blue skies once we get past the low clouds, a little bit of drizzle, light rain, but temps near average, rebounding a little bit. 50s, 60s after the Thursday system. Looks good for the weekend, except for the Thule fog.
Thank you, Steve. Coming up at 7:21, San Francisco residents say they learned about radioactive contamination in the neighborhood way too late.
Person who spoke out against the new law.
7:23. This is that live picture we wanted yesterday. We see some sun peeking through the clouds. The Oakland estuary is quiet and calm. We've had a good dose of rain, but now we are driving out. My windshield wipers were on intermittent as I made my way in a couple hours ago. So a little quieter, a little calmer. Still cool, though. We'll focus on the weather when we bring Steve Paulson back in a minute. The Marin County town of Ross has become the second municipality there to ban the sale of all tobacco products. Supervisors approved the ban last week. The only testimony opposing the policy came from a lobbyist from the National Association of Tobacco Outlets who said the ban sends the wrong message to future entrepreneurs. Tiburon approved a similar ban earlier this month.
Our time now 7:24. New research, medical research shows record numbers of men and women are dealing with chronic kidney disease. It's now been named the 9th leading cause of death around the world. Doctors say the major causes of this: high blood pressure, diabetes, and obesity. Now, earlier today on Mornings on 2, Pam Cook talked with Fox Medical Team's Dr. Mike, and he says many people who have kidney disease don't realize it until it's really progressed.
For those that are without any of those conditions, stay hydrated. Make sure that you don't take too much in terms of things like non-steroidals, Motrin, things like that, because that's another way to damage your kidneys.
And doctors say weight loss drugs have been proven to prevent kidney disease. They also suggest getting an A1C test to closely watch your blood sugar levels and test your blood pressure.
A White House visit from the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. The deals the two are expected to sign, and a larger issue the president is expected to broach.
And Americans are set to pay more for health insurance next year. We'll dive deep into what is driving Medicare Part B premiums. Good morning. In Washington, a key vote's expected today on the Jeffrey Epstein documents, tracking the developments from Washington, where controversy around the late convicted sex offender is expected to only get louder.
California's law blocking federal agents using masks is now being challenged by the Justice Department. How the lawmaker behind the new rule is responding.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
It's a busy one. We are glad you're here. Things are drying out just a bit.
Yeah.
Steve Paulson's in the Weather Center, focusing on some changes we can see and feel. Right, Steve?
I think you saw that on that camera shot with some sun peeking through the clouds there. So it'll be one of those days where we get a little more sun today. There's still some drizzle kind of scooting through, but we're on the drier side on this system. And temperatures 40s, 50s. If it wasn't for the low clouds, we'd be even colder. But there's a lot of 40s. Santa Rosa 45. 46. Now I think Palo Alto's 48. I have to update that. Livermore and also San Jose. And there's still some light drizzle. It's hard to see, but there's still a little bit. Right over Burlingame, looks like Millbrae right there, but kind of falling apart. There could be a little bit coming through here in the next hour or two. But then I think after that, we can say goodbye to it. But maybe a little drizzle, light rain. But that's all. That's the only byproduct left of the low, which is now on its way to central and southern California. Next system is trending weaker and weaker with time here. But we'll get a little bit of rain out of it. May not be until Thursday night into early Friday. I think Santa Cruz Mountains will be the benefit of the most, but about a tenth to about a third should probably cover it. That would be Thursday night. November blue skies after we get through some of these morning low clouds. More sun today, still some scattered clouds, but temperatures after our first really cool day yesterday will come up a little bit, but still slightly below average. All right, Sal's here. My goodness, we've been all over the place. Still Lombard, or is that better?
Lombard Street is going to be slow, Steve, right as you get off of Richardson Drive. And I'm going to put that up here in just a minute. Just caught my computer. See, Steve never has computer issues, right? But I do. Well, there we go. There it is. And you can see now if you're driving away from the Golden Gate Bridge coming off of Richardson, let me get rid of these icons for you. The street is going to be slow at Lombard and Broderick right when you come down because of activity on Broderick. And there's a bunch of fire department crews there. So this is unusual backup for you. Now that we're here, let's talk about the Bay Bridge. You can see how slow it is all the way across into San Francisco. That is pretty typical, and the Bay Bridge backup is beyond the maze. I will also say that the San Mateo Bridge is recovering from some earlier issues on that span. When we come back in just a few minutes, we are going to take a look at that Santa Clara Valley commute because that is becoming full now. 7:31, let's get back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. Straight back to that breaking news in San Francisco this morning. This is where a car slammed into an apartment building in the Marina District. Our Devin Truby is there as fire and rescue workers are also on the scene. Devin.
Yeah, good morning, Garcia. It is quite the scene here at Lombard Street and Broderick. I'm going to step out so you can see the scene, as it's been an incident that happened at 6:20 and the cars are still in the exact same place. Take a look. Looks like 3 cars involved. We have the pickup truck that it's at a 45-degree angle with what appears to be the back of the truck kind of towards the building. And then directly in front of that, you have a smaller 4-door vehicle with the trunk, the hatchback, it appears completely smashed into. And then we also have a 3rd vehicle with the roof and front window dented in. The window has not completely shattered yet, but you can go ahead and see a little bit of that here this morning. The incident still very much active this morning, but we want to go ahead and also show you some video that was provided to us by the San Francisco Fire Department from early this morning when the accident first happened. We do know that there was a single driver in the pickup truck and also 1 person in that hotel. It's La Luna Inn that we're currently looking at, and they were both transported and evaluated. Not clear on how severe the injuries are at this time. We also know that the streets are blocked off, several streets here, so you cannot go up Broderick from Lombard. You'd have to go a couple blocks over, and then across the street where we are, they're also not allowing you to go up towards Broderick. So intersections on both sides are blocked off, so I would recommend going to at least a couple blocks around. Also a reminder, right now you can make left turns until after 10 a.m. on some streets in San Francisco, so you're going to want to go around the other directions of the intersection. Back out here, though, as we take a live look, we have several traffic officers out here blocking the street corners, but several people still investigating. We have the fire department also upstairs at La Luna Inn, looking at the first floor of rooms, kind of looking at the assessment of the building. You can see that orange pole there they've kind of put in there. That's to maintain some of the structure as they figure out later today probably how they're going to remove these vehicles from the building in order to keep the area safe. We're going to be checking in with San Francisco Fire Department here in just a few moments, and we'll bring you more details as we learned how this happened with all three of these cars involved. Reporting live in San Francisco in the Marina, Devin Truby, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, Devin, thank you. Time now 7:34 today in Washington. The House of Representatives expected to vote on a push to release the Justice Department's files on Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex offender. Now, earlier this morning on Capitol Hill, a group of Jeffrey Epstein accusers called on Congress to act. It comes after President Trump changed his tune about releasing the files and now is telling Republicans to support releasing those files. South Bay Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna has been pushing for the release for months.
This is one of the most horrific and disgusting corruption scandals in our country's history. You had Jeffrey Epstein, who literally set up an island of rape, a rape island.
Now, a large number of Republicans in the House are expected to vote in favor of releasing the files. Ro Khanna and other supporters say they hope to achieve a veto-proof majority. The bill will likely be harder to pass in the U.S. Senate. President Trump will still have veto power, but he has suggested he will sign the bill.
The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia is visiting President Trump at the White House today. The leaders are expected to sign deals ranging from weapons sales to AI and mineral agreements. Golf is also expected to be a topic of conversation. President Trump's courses have hosted 7 golf tournaments in the Saudi-backed Live Golf League. The president is likely to press the Saudi leader toward normalization with Israel as well.
No, I am planning on doing that. They want to buy it. They've been a great ally. They've got to like us very much. Look at the Iran situation, what we did in terms of obliterating, we obliterated their nuclear capability. Yeah, I will say that we will be doing that. We'll be selling F-35s.
Saudi Arabia has apparently requested to buy nearly 50 F-35 fighter jets as it works to modernize its air force. Saudi Arabia is the United States' largest customer for arms sales.
Time now 7:36. Gregory Bovino, the senior Border Patrol agent, is leading the Trump administration's immigration enforcement crackdown in North Carolina. Federal immigration agents are calling this latest crackdown Charlotte's Web. So far, they've made more than 200 arrests across North Carolina. Bovino insists the agents are only targeting violent criminals. But North Carolina's Governor Josh Stein says an ugly scene is unfolding in his state.
We've seen masked, heavily armed agents in paramilitary garb driving unmarked cars, targeting American citizens based on their skin color, racially profiling and picking up random people in parking lots and off of our sidewalks. Going after landscapers, this is not making us safer. It's stoking fear and dividing our community.
Bovino was in charge of similar operations in Chicago and in Los Angeles earlier this year. He's also been the target of critics who say his immigration enforcement teams are far too aggressive.
The Trump administration is challenging California's ban on federal law enforcement officers wearing masks. The Department of Justice announced it's filed a lawsuit over the new No Secret Police Act, claiming the policy puts agents and their families at risk by exposing their identities. State Senator Scott Wiener authored the bill in response to recent immigration enforcement action by federal agents who are wearing masks while making arrests. It's the first such law in the nation and is set to go into effect in January. State Senator Scott Wiener responded to the legal challenge, saying the Trump administration is once again proving that they care more about their own unchecked power to kidnap and intimidate than they do about lowering the cost of living, following the Constitution, or releasing the Epstein files. Despite what these would-be authoritarians claim, no one is above the law. Senator Wiener adds, We'll see you in court.
Time now 7:38. The man accused in the fatal shooting of Laney College athletic director Coach John Bean is due in court this morning for his arraignment. The Alameda County District Attorney's Office filed murder charges against 27-year-old Cedric Irving. Sources tell KTVU Irving suffered from severe mental health problems, and he thought that Coach Bean had performed witchcraft on him. Alameda County's district attorney called last week's deadly shooting a targeted attack.
My hope is that we can start talking about accountability as it relates to guns in our community.
Prosecutors say that Irving used a .22 caliber gun to shoot Bean on the Laney College campus last week. He is now facing a possible sentence of 50 years to life in prison if he's convicted.
Time now 7:39. San Mateo Bridge has some more flashing lights I just noticed. Let me show you. It looks like there's a bridge crew truck trying to get out this something, and we'll let you know what that is in just a minute. But that one's just kind of just caught my eye as I was looking at it, so I'm going to see if I can figure it out. Now, if you are driving on the San Mateo Bridge, it's recovering from a couple of earlier things that we had on that bridge. Bay Bridge is also backed up big time. Of course, San Francisco coming off the Golden Gate Bridge, Richardson Drive is going to be slow as you come down to Lombard. Right at Lombard and Broderick, you'll see some activity that's going on Broderick, very close to Lombard, that's causing some slow traffic. It was a car into or a multi-vehicle crash that also damaged the building. Let's also talk, I went back to the Bay Bridge for a reason. I want to talk about the bridge, but also I want to talk about the East Shore Freeway getting to it. That is going to be pretty slow. And we haven't talked about the Richmond Bridge, but that is also slow as well. A lot of people coming up to that point. However, I will say this before I go to Steve. Steve, at 7:40, it is way better than it was yesterday. And now let's bring Steve in at 7:40.
But this has been an unusually busy traffic morning, considering it is not raining.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We're almost done with this system. There's one more in the pipeline, and then it looks like the pattern is going to change, which is certainly understandable. We've had an active September, October, and without question, November. Finally, we got a cold system yesterday. It looks like it's about out of the picture. There's still a little bit of drizzle kind of hanging on, but 40s, 50s on the temps. Sonoma's down to 44, 40s. Everyone's pretty close. Martinez, 47. Gilroy's in there, Soquel's in there, Boulder Creek, Morgan Hill, 49, Cupertino, Saratoga, and San Jose. Santa Clara at 50 degrees, Santa Cruz and Aptos at 49. Everyone pretty close there. 20s, 30s up in the mountains as well. Reno's at 36 degrees, and finally some snow made it. Yay! They had too many warm systems. It was all rain there for a while, but yesterday was snow, anywhere from 7 to 12 inches of snow. Mount Rose leading the way with a foot there. There goes our low. It's down on the Central California coast. You can see that diving south. There it goes. It'll move in Central Coast, Southern California. So out of the picture, but it'll give more rain, although nothing compared to what they had on the weekend. It'll still give them some rain down in Southern California. We get a break on Wednesday. Next rain looks to be Thursday night. Forecast models are really trending weaker with this system. It'll be a fast mover. It won't last too long, but we'll get some drizzle, then light rain, it looks like Thursday afternoon, Thursday night before it kicks out on Friday. After that, everything says drier weather kicks in, if not for about 5-7 days, maybe a little longer. It's well overdue, to be honest with you, but not a lot out of this next system. November blue skies after we get through some of the low cloud, but already some breaks in the clouds, and temps, which were below yesterday on the high side, will be near average today.
Steve, thank you. As we get deeper into fall, a new report finds more Americans are falling behind on their utility bills. According to the Century Foundation, past due balances spiked nearly 10% over the past year.
It's a big deal. We'll talk more about it when you join us on the 9. But for now, we want to hear from you about this. So let's go over to Andre Sr. You have our viewer poll of the day.
And layer on the groceries on top of the utility bills. Man, oh man, it's getting expensive out there. All right, we're asking, have your utility bills gone up in the last year? Your options, yes, significantly. The other is only a little bit, and 0% of you say no at this point. Go to KTV.com/vote. Let us know what you think about our question.
All right. I know it's every time that heater clicks on, I do sweat, but yeah.
All right. Well, as we go to break, one more look at that poll. Look good, and you can scan the QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen. It will take you to our poll.
7:46 here, new video to go with breaking news. We've been reporting out of San Francisco where a truck ended up on the side of an apartment building. San Francisco Fire sent us this video showing the aftermath. These are at least 3 vehicles that are involved in the crash. It's all happening near Lombard and Broderick in the Marina District. The fire department says the driver of the pickup truck and 1 person inside the building are injured. Our Devin Truby is at the scene. She's working to get more information. We're also going to examine the larger traffic impact of this crash there in the marina.
All right, guys, the time 7:46. Some religious groups are very upset about the unregulated use of AI chatbots, urging Congress to install guardrails immediately. Religious leaders testified in front of a House panel warning that AI is not fit to give spiritual advice, confession, or genuine pastoral care. They argue the technology doesn't have the moral conscience and accountability essential for matters of faith and human dignity.
There could be some new types of businesses in Oakland's Jack London Square soon as lawmakers seek to bring new life to that area. Right now, the Port of Oakland says a little over half of the ground floor space in Jack London Square is vacant. Jack London Square is seen as one of Oakland's most important commercial districts. It has struggled over the years. Starting in the new year, a new law lifts restrictions on what kinds of businesses can operate there. Merchants and locals say the change is long overdue.
I remember working a Monday afternoon shift and every seat was full the entire time. They used to do more events. The farmers market had more people and more stalls there. All of it just seems everything's kind of shrunken down a bit.
The new bill means things like barbershops, nail salons, and grocery stores could be allowed in Jack London. There's also news of a Dave & Buster's planning to open in a vacant spot along the waterfront. 7:48, Bitcoin and tech stocks have been the stars of Wall Street, but this morning they're taking the indexes down.
Wow, and Pam Cook is in the studio with the details with dollars and cents. You're not smiling, Pam.
No, a lot of red across the board. Hate to report that this morning. Bitcoin briefly dropped below $90,000. It reached a record high of $126,000 in early October. Analysts point out many investors and money managers hold tech stocks and Bitcoin, so there could be more selling going forward. As that opening bell rang this morning, the S&P 500 dropped for the 4th day in a row, and the tech stocks are taking the NASDAQ down. It dropped about 400 points immediately. A lot of talk about whether or not some of these big tech companies, including the leaders in AI, may be overvalued at this point. All right, as we take a live look at the big board now, you can see the Dow Jones dropped another 100 points or so since that bell rang. It's now down almost 600 points, 1.25%. Again, the S&P 500 down more than 1 full percentage point, and the NASDAQ slipping 1 3/4, 385 points there, made up mostly of tech stocks, the NASDAQ. American seniors will be paying more for Medicare Part B coverage starting this in the new year. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services says the standard monthly premiums will climb nearly 10% in January compared to 1 year earlier. The government says the increase is due mostly to rising health care costs. Medicare Part B covers outpatient care, doctor's services, medical supplies, and preventative services. A Wall Street billionaire is joining President Trump's push for a 50-year mortgage. Billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman will release a new proposal today for mortgage companies Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Ackman says it would help the Trump administration achieve its objectives to make buying a house more affordable. However, financial advisors say it would trap people in debt for much of their lives. Panera Bread pouring millions of dollars into making some changes to draw in more customers. That includes refreshing the menu with new food and drink options. The CEO says Panera is also working on improving service inside the stores and says he hopes the changes will help them reach $7 billion in sales by 2028. I'm Pam Cook. That's Look at Your Dollars and Cents.
All right, Pam, thank you. Time now 7:50. Today, the 49ers expected to hold workouts for kickers after kicker Eddie Pinheiro was hurt in Sunday's win over the Arizona Cardinals. Head coach Kyle Shanahan says Pinheiro has a strained hamstring. He's expected to miss some time, but he didn't say how long. Several other defensive players were also hurt in Sunday's win. But Coach Shanahan said he was impressed with Brock Purdy and his return from injury.
I haven't talked to him today. Gave the players the day off. A victory Monday, plus would have happened probably anyways with it being an 8-day week with us playing on a Monday night. But we're all getting away from each other a little bit next 2 days, and we'll get back together after that. But just talking to him last night, I know he felt pretty good and seemed like checked out all right.
Well, the 49ers get an extra day off this week before they play on Monday Night Football. They'll be taking on the Carolina Panthers at home.
Time is 7:51. We're starting on the Richmond Bridge just to show you that the traffic is going to be moderately heavy. We've also been talking about, of course, the Bay Bridge. That's been heavy before the Maze. It's backed up. Part of it is because a lot of people were held up in a crash much earlier, and then they all got there at once. So the Bay Bridge has a big backup. And then you see the San Mateo Bridge is still recovering from some things. Westbound on the San Mateo Bridge is a little bit slow. I do see some flashing lights out there. Santa Clara Valley, Silicon Valley commute is filled in. And right now we see a lot of slow traffic there on 280, 101. It's nothing unusual, but definitely not an easy drive. One thing I will say, though, everything is better than it was yesterday when it was raining. 7:51. Let's bring Steve back with today's weather.
Sal, we're about done with any drizzle. There might be a little bit hanging on. We'll start, though, up in the mountains. Both South Lake Tahoe and Truckee are 30 degrees. They needed some colder temps so they can start making some snow. Mother Nature provided a little bit yesterday, at least some of the higher elevations, but 30s across the board here. I mean, Reno's in there, Carson City, Minden, Truckee, South Lake Tahoe. The lows should drop a little more tonight, tomorrow, but finally some snow. Mount Rose a foot, Sierra Tahoe 8 inches of snow, Sugar Bowl 8, and Palisades Tahoe picked up 7 yesterday. These have been warm systems, but finally yesterday delivered a little bit on the cold. Moisture wrapping back around, still producing some drizzle. There's not a lot to it. The low is on its way. Central and Southern California will take the turn, then move into Arizona. We have one more system, although it looks like this low that's coming in on Thursday is going to have a path that'll be a little bit more over land versus those that are coming over water. What's that mean? It means the amount of moisture will be cut. There won't be as much in the way of rain. We'll get something out of it, and anytime you get a low like this coming in this time of year, you have to keep an eye on it for the afternoon, maybe possible thunderstorms or something, but it's looking much weaker here with time as we go in. After that, I think we get a break for the weekend, and probably most of next week is the way it's looking. I think end of the month, early December, rain will return. There's some signs that point to that direction. November, blue sky. What signs would that be, Steve? That would be the PNA going negative and the Mojo going into phase 8. You can look them up. Anyway, more sunshine today, 50s, 60s on the temps here. And after today, I should say Thursday, we'll start to clear it out. And your weekend looks good, but unless there's wind, there's going to be a ton of that Thule fog out to the valley.
All right, Steve, thank you. Time now, 7:53. From a budget crisis to a board fight. Why the price of tuition at the University of California is creeping up and how undergrads are pushing back. And a campaign to expand parking for pregnant women. Next at 8 o'clock, why this is sparking a fierce fight from disability advocates. Welcome back to Mornings on 2 at 7:56. A UC Berkeley student is fighting for his life after almost drowning last week at a fraternity house off the campus. It happened Friday night at Alpha Delta Phi. Berkeley police rushed there after getting a report of a 19-year-old man drowning. He was taken to a hospital. He's listed in critical condition. We talked to students who say they've been to parties at that frat house and say there are usually students there monitoring what's going on. Now they want to know what went wrong last Friday.
When I heard about it, I was really worried and sad because obviously that can be someone really close, and it's just so shocking and sudden that something so tragic can happen to someone. It just really shows the need that we need to do more for people's safety.
Within just 90 minutes of that incident on Friday, Berkeley police posted a notice by the entrance of that frat house saying a gathering at the house caused a threat to public safety. And if there's another disturbance within 4 months of this notice, residents of the house could face civil penalties. It's 7:57 in San Jose. A high school football coach is publicly challenging the school's explanation of his recent departure. Former Bellarmine College prep football coach David Diaz-Infante told the Bay Area News Group he did not step down, but was instead fired by the administration. The school's official statement said that Diaz-Infante was voluntarily stepping down from the job after 3 seasons and called the change a mutual separation. Well, the White House had announced a new FIFA pass to fast-track visa interviews for World Cup ticket holders. The State Department's getting ready for a major increase in visa applications, with more than 6 million fans expected to attend the games here in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. The new pass is meant to make that process simpler and faster. Levi Stadium will host 6 World Cup matches next summer. Well, the UC Regents will vote tomorrow on whether to raise the tuition of the system's nearly 300,000 students. The Regents say a tuition hike may be needed to offset the recent Trump administration cuts, a big reduction in state funding, and growing inflation. Students plan to protest outside of tomorrow's meeting of the Regents at UCLA. They say the proposed tuition hike would have a devastating financial impact on students from low-income families.
From local legend to national spotlight, Coach John Beam's legacy now at the center of a high-stakes murder case. The man accused of killing the beloved member of the community set to face a judge this morning. And then
We are not opposing help for the homeless. We are opposing the secrecy that has defined this entire project.
And tensions high in San Rafael. Leaders face pushback over a proposal to house homeless residents. The concerns neighbors say are being ignored. And a parking lot battle heating up. The campaign to expand parking for pregnant women and why it's sparking fierce fighting from disability advocates.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Welcome to Mornings on 2 at 8 o'clock. You look live across downtown Oakland this morning. What rain? Yeah, we got some sunshine on this Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Andre Sr.
Good morning. I'm Garcia Michaelia. November 18th, it's a busy one. Weather's part of that. Steve Paulson, many of us are welcoming the change.
Yes, I think we'll get a lot more sun today. I was unseasonably cold yesterday. At noon, Andre said, hey, look out here at the estuary. I mean, it was windy and raining and cold, and now we're down to Santa Cruz here, and it looks pretty tranquil, pretty nice, and it will be today. Some clouds out there, but most of these are clearing out pretty fast. 40s on the temps. If it wasn't for the cloud cover, we'd be even colder, but still some drizzle. I think we're about done with this unless it's south or maybe Santa Cruz Mountains, Santa Clara Valley. I think that's about it. Maybe Peninsula somewhere, but most locations are clearing out south to north there, north to south, excuse me, as the low moves towards central and southern California. One more system. This one, though, the low looks to be going over land versus offshore, so the amounts on the rainfall have been dramatically cut back. Still, though, I wouldn't be surprised. We, 1/10 of an inch to maybe 4/10, with Santa Cruz Mountains probably leading the way. That would be on Thursday's system, though. November blue skies today. Morning low clouds drizzle, but more sun today, and temperatures rebounding, but they're still only near average to slightly below. All right, Sal's here. He's had his feet on the desk all morning long. Oh, wait a minute. No, he hasn't.
Yeah, we got
Where are we going first?
We're going to the Bay Bridge.
Okay.
And, yeah, we got a problem westbound just after Treasure Island. This happened just after we last spoke about 10 minutes ago. Westbound, there's an injury crash. Before that, there had been a stalled truck on westbound 80 on the connector ramp to southbound 101. So these two things have made the Bay Bridge especially harsh. It's backed up beyond the maze. Metering lights are on. Some people might want to use the San Mateo Bridge. That's been okay. We had some earlier issues there. I guess it'd be better, but right now I think the best thing would be if you can swing public transportation, that would be the call. 8:01, let's go back to the desk.
And we'll get more on that breaking news in San Francisco here as a car is slammed into a hotel in the Marina District. Our Devin Truby is on the scene along with fire and rescue workers there. Have they made much progress since we last checked in with you, Devin?
Garcia, they are just starting. Multiple tow trucks have arrived. I said, how are you going to get the cars out of here? They said, very carefully, and after we think about it for a really long time. And this is exactly why. Take a look at the pickup truck that is in the building, the Luna Inn, at a 45-degree angle. This incident occurred this morning at 6:20 a.m. We are off Lombard Street and Broderick Street here in the Marina neighborhood of San Francisco. Let me go ahead and walk you through what happened after we spoke with fire. So they said this gray pickup truck was coming too fast off the bridge, probably going about 60 to 70 miles per hour, completely missed the street and went through the gas station. We've got video. We're going to show you of that in just a second. Cutting across through this intersection, so didn't make the turn normally like they would through the intersection. They went and then to these two parked cars. So you can see right now, this car is being towed. That's actually the second vehicle, the BMW, that was hit. The first car that was hit that you're seeing now, which is a total loss. You can see the front is gone, the back is gone, just a crushed cube of metal right now. That was the first car that was hit. So the truck somehow managed to hit that car and then tailspin, flip itself enough to be able to be parked at a different 180-degree angle because the truck was in fact coming up this direction on the street. So it has somehow flipped itself to get into the building. The fire department said that they have secured the structure. You can see the poles that are kind of set up in the hotel. They have also secured the truck and stabilized it. You can see the poles and the yellow straps there keeping the truck suspended until they figure out how they're going to remove it and tow it. Building inspectors for the city of San Francisco have been called to the scene to assess the structural damage. There was one person inside the hotel and there was one driver inside the gray pickup truck. Somehow only minor to moderate injuries, with those two people being taken away from the scene to the hospital so far this morning. Now, if you can bear with us for a sec, we do have video of the truck traveling at high speeds that we want to go ahead and show you. What you're seeing right now is the video from the fire department earlier this morning from when the incident first happened, but I know it's on a cell phone. Don't worry, we're gonna get it to you later. So this is first. I'll do it so you can just see how fast the truck drove through that gas station in order to go up and then hit those cars here at the intersection. Play it a little bit slower for you one more time. There it is, through the gas station, completely missing the turn on the intersection and directly into those parked cars. You can kind of see the lights there at the top of the screen for where the truck would have to tailspin itself then into the building. I asked the fire department if they've ever seen anything like this. They said what you normally see in San Francisco is you don't see high speeds, but because the roads are so small, they do often get a lot of cars into buildings because there's not a lot of distance between curb and buildings here in San Francisco. They said that this will most likely be used as a training exercise on how to extract people from difficult situations. Reporting live in San Francisco, Devin Truby, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Devin, thank you. Happening today, a man accused of killing longtime Oakland football coach John Beam is expected to make his first court appearance.
Yeah, this is a crime that carries a 50-year prison sentence. KTVU's James Torres is live in Oakland with reaction from the Alameda County District Attorney. James?
Yeah, the legal process will get underway in just about an hour from now. That's when the accused killer of Coach John Beam will learn the charges he's facing in front of a judge for the first time. Now, that's Cedric Irving. We now know that he's going to face charges of murder and use of a gun in that murder. Prosecutors will now work to build a case against him. Each of those charges carrying a sentence of 25 years to life if he is found guilty. Investigators say he stormed onto Laney College's campus where Coach Beam worked as the athletic director, found Beam, and killed him after a shot to the head. The killing broke the hearts of people in Oakland, especially those who had a story connecting to Coach Beam, which includes Alameda County District Attorney Ursula Jones-Dixon. She said her son knew Coach Beam. She now says the shooting is sparking a change in department policy as it now looks to reinstitute an old idea, which involves mandatory minimum sentences to gun-related cases.
What that means is if you are pleading to a possession of a gun as a misdemeanor, you'll have to do a certain amount of time in custody, and as a felony, a certain amount of time in custody.
Coach Beam was a football coach in Oakland for more than 40 years. His legacy has been honored by local tributes and even on the national stage through current NFL players. Sources tell KTVU Irving believed Beam performed witchcraft on him, but the district attorney would not comment on the state of his mental health. Irving expected in court starting at 9 o'clock. We're live this morning in Oakland. I'm James Torres, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, James, thank you. 8:07 your time. Happening today, San Francisco police holding a town hall to give an update on a shooting involving an officer that happened earlier this month. It happened about a week ago near Market and O'Farrell Street. Officers opened fire while trying to detain a man and his unleashed dog, which also reportedly bit one of the officers. The man and the dog were both shot in the leg. We'll be at the town hall when it starts at 3 p.m., where we're hoping to get more clarity on the timeline of events.
Lawmakers in several states are pushing for legislation that would allow pregnant women to use disabled parking spaces. Florida and Ohio recently passed a law to give pregnant women temporary access. The move has sparked debate. Some say it violates the Americans with Disabilities Act. Disability advocates argue that accessible spaces are already scarce and intended for people with mobility impairments who need them for temporary access, not convenience.
Well, later today, Marin County supervisors scheduled to step into a battle over affordable housing in San Rafael. Last night, the city council approved the plan to turn a vacant lot into temporary cabin village for the unhoused. The vote could pave the way for a permanent housing development of up to 80 units. But the proposal has sparked a heated debate. A local homeowners group claims the city leaders pushed the project forward in secret and may have violated California's open meeting law.
We are not opposing help for the homeless. We are opposing the secrecy that has defined this entire project.
There's been no public process, no transparency, no criteria presented.
City council vote was unanimous, but Marin County supervisors still must approve the proposed funding for the project.
Time is 8:09, and we still have that problem in San Francisco we've been talking about in Broderick and Lombard. The problem is it's affecting Richardson Drive coming in off the Golden Gate Bridge. It's affecting it as you come in. It's an unexpected backup because people are looking at what's going on. Also on the Bay Bridge, westbound near Treasure Island, they're clearing a crash. The Bay Bridge itself has really been slow. It doesn't need any help. It's almost as bad today as it was yesterday with all the rain. Today it's been because of issues. San Mateo Bridge getting a little better, not much, just a little bit. Dumbarton Bridge is slow as well, by the way, and it's not a great alternate. South Bay commute is filled in, although we haven't had a lot of crashes. The other day someone asked me about the Dumbarton Bridge and why all of a sudden it has become very, very slow. I think people have figured out the secret to use that bridge when the San Mateo, especially when the San Mateo and the Bay Bridge have issues. 8:09. Let's go back to the desk.
All right, Sal, thanks. Privacy concerns and crime taking center stage today. The vote that could allow more license plate reading cameras on the streets of Oakland.
Changes are coming to Roblox chats, what people who want to chat with children will now have to go through before gaining access to some of the platform's youngest users.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes, your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
Some of the stories we're following this morning. Accusers of Jeffrey Epstein are joining congressional members, including South Bay Representative Ro Khanna and Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene on Capitol Hill. They're among the congressional leaders calling for the release of all investigative files involving the convicted sex offender. The House could vote today to compel the Justice Department to release the files. Back to that breaking news here in San Francisco. Live pictures up close as the aftermath of what happened when a truck slammed into an apartment building in the Marina District is now being unwound. The truck, as you can see, is stuck in the building, sort of at that 45-degree angle. This is all happening near the intersection of Lombard and Broderick, damaging at least 3 cars and that building. Fire crews have secured the building and the truck to keep anything from moving until they know how to safely take it out. We just saw Devin Truby there live on the scene. She says tow truck drivers have quite the job on their hands. They're going to take it slow and figure out exactly what to do. So this dramatic scene does not get any more dangerous. We'll, of course, have updates for you through the morning.
The mayor of Raleigh, North Carolina, says federal immigration agents are expected to expand their statewide crackdown to the state's capital today, but it's not yet clear how many agents will be dispatched from Charlotte or how long they will stay. So far, agents have made 200 arrests in the crackdown that they have dubbed Charlotte's Web.
Time now is 8:15. Happening today, the Oakland City Council may decide whether to approve the extension of the police department's network of license plate reading cameras.
The Oakland Police Department will make its case to the Public Safety Committee meeting during a City Hall meeting tonight. OPD is pushing for the expansion, saying these tech cameras have been tremendously effective in tracking down criminals. Police released surveillance video taken in the past year to back up their case. The department says the Flock surveillance camera network has helped police identify and locate vehicles used in crimes ranging from armed robbery to carjacking. Police now want to install as many as 40 new cameras across the city as part of the proposed 2-year contract extension. The department says the camera system has several safeguards in place to protect the privacy of city residents.
Video is completely siloed off just to the department. So only the department can access that video, retain that video related to an investigation. Whereas FLAC AOPR has some sharing protocols that we have with other agencies, but the video cameras themselves in this situation are not being shared outside of the city of Oakland.
However, the Flock camera system is still raising privacy concerns in Oakland and many other parts of the U.S. This past August, Illinois' Secretary of State says he learned U.S. Border Patrol agents had tapped into the state's license plate reader system as part of the recent immigration crackdown there.
This put them in direct violation of Illinois law. We immediately ordered Flock to turn off Border Patrol's access to Illinois data.
Last month, those concerns led the Oakland Privacy Advisory Commission to recommend that City Council vote against the proposed expansion of the Flock camera system. That's after that same city panel approved the license reading cameras in 2023. Both critics and supporters of the camera system are expected to express their views at tonight's Public Safety Committee meeting. It starts at 6:30 at Oakland City Hall. This morning, Roblox is announcing new protections for young users on the platform. The San Mateo-based company says any user who wants to use text or voice chat on the platform will have to have their age verified. Part of those age checks will be done using AI tech, which will be able to estimate how old someone is by looking at a picture or video of their face. Young users will be matched into so-called age bins, so they can only talk to people verified in that same range.
When we think about age checking and sort of who can talk to who, we think of it really in sort of elementary school buckets. So middle schoolers can talk to middle schoolers and high schoolers can talk to high schoolers, but not outside of those buckets. Safety is an industry-wide problem. Kids are not just on one app, they're on all of the apps. And so we can make Roblox as safe as we can, but to really keep kids safe, we need the whole industry to get behind this.
Roblox has more than 150 million users around the world, and about a third of them are under 13. It's facing lawsuit in several states and from families who accuse the company of not doing enough to protect children from predators who use the platform's chat function. Roblox says the new age verification requirements to use the chat function will go into effect next month.
Time is 8:18, and we've had a lot going on, and we've focused on San Francisco and the Bay Bridge, but some of these other commutes are pretty heavy. 238 is where 880 begins to slow, and it's solid all the way down into Fremont. 680 as well. It's very slow. And you will also see slow traffic on 680 and Highway 4, all the usual. Now, the Bay Bridge has had a crash on it, and also we had a stalled truck getting off of it. So the Bay Bridge We're talking about a bigger delay than normal. And of course, in San Francisco, coming off of the Golden Gate Bridge because of something happening on Lombard, or actually on Broderick near Lombard, there's a big slowdown past that gas station there as you get off the Golden Gate Bridge. Don't let that surprise you. It's likely to be that way for the rest of the morning commute. 8:18. Let's bring Steve back with today's weather.
Sal, things are improving rapidly, especially to the north where it's already cleared out. Some low clouds still around. I think the drizzle's done, though, as our system dives south. You can see it on the water vapor, shows you all the circulation. That was our system from yesterday, overnight, and early this morning. Now it's on its way to Los Angeles and out of the picture here. So sun and low clouds, drizzles ended here, mostly sunny, and there'll be more sun. It'll be nice today. And we'll get a break today and probably most of tomorrow. There's a little bit of an offshore breeze up there in the Oakland Hills, right up Oakland South and Oakland North there. About 16 to 28 miles per hour, and an east wind in the city as well. A little northerly breeze for many, even up into Napa and Sonoma County. What about out to the Altamont Pass? Well, there you go. North at 8, north at 11, northeast Livermore, so north at Tracy. I think you get the idea. That's an offshore breeze. The low is moving south, the high is building into the north. That's the source of that breeze. There's just not much left here except some low clouds. 40s and 50s on the temps. Sonoma 45. Had a lot of 40s originally. San Carlos, Menlo Park, Sunnyvale. Now they're all in the low 50s. Going south, almost all 40s except for Santa Clara, Cupertino. Now Aptos and Santa Cruz, but everyone's pretty close there with upper 40s to near 50. 30s up in the mountains. Carson City 37, Minden 36. They finally got some snow. Mount Rose, Sierra Tahoe, Sugar Bowl, and Palisades picked up 7 to 12 inches of snow, although again, really not a lot at lake level, only a couple inches there. But our low is on the way out. High pressure's on the way in. As that low moves into Southern California, we're on the drier side. Next system, though, is looking weaker. It'll be here Thursday, but it looks like the low is, instead of going offshore, is going to go right over land. That will cut back on the amount of moisture, hence smaller rainfall amounts is what it looks like. I think Santa Cruz Mountains will lead the way, but about 1/10 of an inch to a quarter should cover it for just about everybody. Then it looks like a break for your weekend and probably most of next week. The next rain would be end of November and early December is the way it looks to me. So long overdue probably is for a break here. We've had an active November, no doubt. November blue skies, morning low clouds, but lots of sun already, and temperatures 50s, 60s after the Thursday system. We will clear it out on Friday. The only fly in the ointment, and there's usually one in weather, will be the Thule fog in the valley. Unless the wind picks up, there will be a lot of it. The coast might be the place to be this weekend.
Steve, thank you so much. As we get deeper into fall, a new report finds more Americans are falling behind on their utility bills. According to the Century Foundation, past due balances spiked nearly 10% over the last year. More details coming up on the 9, but in the meantime, we want to hear from you. We're asking, have your utility bills gone up in the last year? Your options, yes, significantly. The other is only a bit, or no. And right now, 87% of you say yes. 8% of you say a bit. 5% of you say no. Scan the QR code, top right-hand corner of your screen, or go to ktvu.com/vote. Let us know what you think.
Another robotaxi company starting service in San Francisco, how you can get a free ride and what you'll have to provide in return.
And we're creeping to the end of autumn, but already we're thinking about next summer, and that is because we're already working on next year's Zip trips. And this time around, we're doing something different. Instead of us picking the cities, we want to hear from you. Tell us why your hometown should be our next Zip trip destination. Just scan the QR code and record a video, or send a few photos telling us all about your city, and we could choose it for next year's Zip trip lineup. Another competitor is looking to overtake Waymo on the streets of San Francisco.
Tech stocks are taking Wall Street down this morning as well. Pam Cook is back with today's dollars and cents.
Yeah, a lot of talk about the valuation of these tech stocks, particularly some of those big leaders in AI. They may be overvalued at this point. They certainly have had a huge run up this year. As that opening bell rang this morning, the S&P 500 dropped for the fourth day in a row. The tech stocks taking the NASDAQ down more than 400 points right after that bell rang. Also this morning, Bitcoin briefly dropped below $90,000. It did reach a record high of $126,000 in early October. And analysts pointing out that a lot of investors, money managers hold both tech stocks and Bitcoin. So we could see more selling as we take a live look at the big board now. You can see the Dow Jones down still close to a full percentage point, 433 points or so. The S&P 500 down about 0.75%. The NASDAQ slipping more than 1%. It has recovered some of the losses, but still down 250 points. American seniors will be paying more for Medicare Part B coverage starting in the new year. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services says the standard monthly premiums will climb nearly 10% in January compared to 1 year earlier. The government says the increase is due mostly to rising health care costs. Medicare Part B covers outpatient care, doctor's services, medical supplies, and preventative services. A new robotaxi company is launching in San Francisco and expanding. Amazon-owned Zoox is going to start offering autonomous rides in San Francisco. The company has been running cars around parts of the city in a trial period. Now people will be able to catch a ride for free as long as they provide feedback to Zoox. Engineers will then use that feedback to make any design changes and improve the technology before expanding the operations. You can download the Zoox app now to get a free ride before they start charging. And Panera Bread is pouring millions of dollars into making some changes to draw in more customers. That includes refreshing the menu with new food and drink options. The CEO says Panera is also working on improving service inside the stores and says he hopes the changes will help them reach $7 billion in sales by 2028. I'm Pam Cook. That's a look at your dollars and cents.
Pam, thank you. May 27 coming up, a White House visit focused on making deals. From AI to fighter jets, what's on the table as President Trump welcomes the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Americans are set to pay more for health insurance next year. We'll dive into what's driving Medicare Part B premiums.
Wild video of a violent crash in San Francisco's Marina District this morning. We see a truck go straight into a building. What we know about the people hurt and where the investigation and cleanup stands in a live report from the scene in a moment. Then the back and forth over food benefits is taking a new turn. Next, we examine why some people who are getting federal help may not have it anymore and where efforts stand to bring critical help to people in one East Bay city.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Garcia Mikhailian.
I'm Andre Sr. Today is Tuesday, November 18th. Steve Paulson has some better news to share with you this morning than he did over the last day or so.
Andre, yesterday at noon.
It got chilly, sir. That right back here, it was crazy.
I was watching you, yeah.
The choppiness on the water here, the winds, the trees were blowing like crazy, and the temperature dropped.
Boy, it was cold out there.
Yeah, it was.
No doubt about it. Today, it's glass out there. It's nice already. Boy, it cleared out fast in the north. Already sunny up there, and the low clouds are starting to drop southward as well. So I don't think it'll take too long here for us to get mostly sunny. Although, again, if you're south, more clouds. If you're north, it's already sunny. Santa Rosa 46, Livermore, Palo Alto, upper 40s, San Jose 50. The city dropped to 51, which is normal. Normal low. That's been a rarity for today. Most everything's taken off here. I think the drizzle's about done unless you're down maybe Santa Cruz Mountains or something, but the low is on its way out of the picture. We'll get a break today, most of tomorrow. The next system arrives Thursday. It's looking weaker and weaker with time here. We'll get a little bit of rain out of it, but it's taking a track over land versus offshore, and that kind of takes away a lot of the moisture. November blue skies. If you don't, you'll probably get it later on today. More sun today, scattered clouds. Temperatures which were below average yesterday, still below to near average. All righty, Sal is here. My goodness, take a breath. Where would you like to start?
Yeah, let's start with the Bay Bridge. They were clearing a crash, Steve. There was also a stalled truck in San Francisco just off the bridge. In combination, that has made the bridge traffic really slow. You can see it's all red there. And in fact, the Bay Bridge commute is backed up onto 580 in Oakland, and 80 is backed up into Berkeley. So, you know, even though it hasn't been, well, I would say this is now rivaling what we had yesterday with all the rain on the Bay Bridge. Also, we have the Golden Gate Bridge. If you're driving into San Francisco because of what happened on Broderick and Lombard, there's a bigger backup on Richardson that's not usually there coming in off the Golden Gate Bridge. We're going to go to a live report from there in just a minute, but what you need to know is if you drive into San Francisco from the Golden Gate, it's going to be a lot harder than it normally is. So a lot of these commutes, especially on the bridges today, have been not that great. San Mateo Bridge, moderate. 8:33. Let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. We'll stay on top of that breaking news in the city here. A truck has slammed into a hotel building in the Marina District.
That wild wreck playing out within the last few hours. The impact lodging that pickup into the outer wall of that building. KTVU's Devin Truby is live at the scene with much more. Devin?
Yeah, good morning, Andre. A lot of progress has been made in the half hour. 2 of the vehicles have been removed, and the third, the hardest one, the truck, is also kind of being worked on right now. You can see that this truck was originally at a 45-degree angle in the La Luna Inn. They have successfully pulled it from the building, but now we also can see just the whole entire room has been exposed. We can even see the hotel bed where the person was staying as well. There was 1 person in this room and 1 driver in the silver truck. Both have been taken to have their injuries treated. Somehow, both of them walking away with only minor to moderate injuries at this point in time. I want to go ahead and walk you through what happened this morning here at 6:20 a.m. as we take a look at Broderick and also the intersection of Lombard. So the vehicle traveling about 70 miles per hour headed eastbound, so headed up in this direction towards the hotel, hit the 2 parked cars directly in front of this hotel. You can see this is the car that was first hit and took the brunt of the impact. It's a total loss, completely crushed pretty much into a cube. Also hit a second car before the gray truck was able to somersault over the top of those vehicles, landing itself at that 45-degree angle facing outwards. I'm going to go ahead and step out so you can see as they continue to pull this truck. It also collided with an electrical power light box. Oh, that is not a great sound. I apologize for that high screeching that you're hearing so far this morning. What we know from the San Francisco Fire Department is that they do in fact get a lot of vehicles into buildings because the curb in the city there's not that much distance between that and buildings, but they often don't get a lot of high speeds. I want you to take a look now at this surveillance video that we received this morning, which shows just how fast the driver was going. San Francisco Fire Department estimating the speeds anywhere from 65 to 70 miles per hour. This driver coming off the Golden Gate Bridge looking to head eastbound up the street on Broadway, completely did not want to use the intersection, but instead cut through the gas station. That's the video that you're seeing, rather than having to make the turn, because obviously they were traveling too fast for that before hitting the two parked cars and going into the building. At this time, we spoke with the fire department. They said it's too soon to know if the driver was at all under the influence or drugs and alcohol may be involved this morning. We are back out here live as we can see that so far, 2 of the vehicles have been removed. This, again, the vehicle that took the brunt of the crash. No one was in that vehicle. It was just simply parked overnight in front of the La Luna Inn, so that is good. That vehicle considered a total loss. And then we also want you to hear from a woman that was an eyewitness, and she just lives in that green building with the scaffolding. So she was awoken by the sound and explained the whole situation to us.
I didn't even think it was a car crash because there was 3 cars involved. It was like scream, and then boom, 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 boom. I literally just thought scaffolding fell and our building shook. So pop out my head and I just see this man like crawling out of the car with his hood on.
We spoke to one resident that said this is their 3rd major crash into a building with this kind of damage in the last 5 years, and that people often travel way too quickly coming off the Golden Gate Bridge and into the Marina neighborhood. The fire department and the police department are both asking for video if you live nearby and have a Ring doorbell camera or a nearby business, because everyone is still trying to understand how this truck flipped itself into the building to end up at a 45-degree angle. Reporting live in San Francisco, Devin Truby, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Devin, thank you. Across the bay and happening today, a man accused in the shooting death of Laney College athletic director John Beam is set to appear in court for his first arraignment today. The Alameda County DA's office filed murder charges against Cedric Irving. Sources tell KTVU Irving suffered from severe mental health issues and said he thought Coach Beam had performed witchcraft on him. Police say the shooting was a targeted attack.
My hope is that we can start talking about accountability as it relates to guns in our community.
The DA is charging Irving with murder and a gun enhancement, which would add time to his sentence if found guilty. Prosecutors say Irving was carrying the .22 caliber handgun used in the shooting when he was arrested a day after the attack.
8:38 your time. The House of Representatives expected to vote today to release the Justice Department's files on a convicted sex offender. We're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, of course. Earlier this morning on Capitol Hill, a group of Epstein's accusers called on Congress to act. It comes after President Trump changed his tune about releasing the files and is now telling Republicans to support making those files public. South Bay Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna has been pushing for the release for months.
This is one of the most horrific and disgusting corruption scandals in our country's history. You had Jeffrey Epstein, who literally set up an island of rape, a rape island.
A large number of Republicans are expected to vote in favor of the bill. Congressman Khanna and other supporters say they hope to achieve a veto-proof majority. The bill will likely be harder to pass in the Senate, and the president would still have veto power, but he has suggested he would sign it. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia visiting President Trump at the White House today. The leaders are expected to sign deals ranging from weapons sales to AI and mineral agreements. Golf is also expected to be a topic of conversation. Trump's courses have hosted 7 golf tournaments in the Saudi-backed Live Golf League. The president may press the Saudi leader toward normalization with Israel as well.
No, I am planning on doing that. Yeah. They want to buy. They've been a great ally. They've got to like us very much. Look at the Iran situation, what we did in terms of obliterating, we obliterated their nuclear capability. Yeah, I will say that we will be doing that. We'll be selling F-35s.
Saudi Arabia has apparently requested to buy nearly 50 F-35 fighter jets as it tries to modernize its air force. Saudi Arabia is the United States' largest customer for arms sales.
The Trump administration says millions of people who rely on federal food aid in the form of SNAP benefits will have to reapply for that help as part of an effort to crack down on fraud. The White House has not released exact details on what that'll look like, but there is renewed scrutiny on how much the government spends on food aid. SNAP serves nearly 42 million Americans, cost about $100 billion last fiscal year. Let's get some insight on what that could mean for people here in the Bay Area. We welcome Emeryville City Council member Courtney Welch to Mornings on 2. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk first about what the White House is saying about how people who receive SNAP benefits will have to reapply to make sure there is no fraud. We should note that these recipients already have to recertify every 6 months to a year or so. What does this new order from the White House mean for you and the people you serve?
Well, you're absolutely correct. There's already a recertification process as a SNAP beneficiary to make sure that, one, you're still eligible and that you're getting the correct amount. So this desirability to make everyone now reapply, it's really just kind of feeding this narrative coming out of this administration that our most vulnerable Americans are somehow scamming the government. It's just absolutely not true.
Do you think that for people who should be receiving SNAP, are they saying, sure, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it, essentially opening up the books, or is there a reluctance to do that?
I haven't seen a reluctance from anyone that I know that receives SNAP benefits. Okay. Like, when you sign up, you know that you're going to have to recertify, which means you're showing your income, your cost of living needs, what do you pay for rent, your utility bills. So you know that going into the program. So again, there's no real resistance, but I think what we're really worried about is having people reapply could mean that they're cutting off people's aid and then having them reapply, which means they're not getting the support that they need.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the support that's available there in Emeryville. And I'll say we talk a lot about Oakland, your neighbor. We talk a lot about San Francisco, other cities that are in need of help just due to their numbers. You grew up in Oakland. Now you're helping to lead a fairly small city, right next door. Tell me about the unique challenges that exist in Emeryville.
Well, we're still part of the major metropolitan area, so we do have many of the same challenges as our neighbors when it comes to supporting individuals and households with lower incomes. When they made the announcement last month during the shutdown that the SNAP benefits would be potentially or for sure running out, we knew that was going to impact a significant amount of our students in our school district and also our seniors that live in Emeryville. So we created with the city the SNAP Relief Program, which was a food drive to help support ECAP, which is our food bank in Emeryville, because we knew there was going to be an increase of demand with not just individuals that were receiving SNAP, but people who are out of work because of the shutdown. So, I mean, Emeryville is small, but it's mighty, and we take care of each other in the city.
ECAP is the Emeryville Citizens Assistance Program. For someone who says, I need help today, how do they go about finding it?
Well, they can go right down to ECAP. They are giving out food every single day.
On San Pablo Ave, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
So we also have resources on our city website to connect people, whether it's through us directly or through Alameda County or different community partners.
Do you think there might be a misconception that people who live in Emeryville, they're living that high-tech life, right? They've got that water view. They don't need the help.
That's an absolute misconception. Again, we have vulnerable residents just like every other city throughout the Bay Area, throughout the nation. And so, yes, we do have wealthier residents, like the Bay Area has many wealthy residents, but we do still have a significant amount of our residents that need from a little to a lot of assistance.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're so happy that you're here to shed light on a city that honestly doesn't get a ton of news coverage. So it's good to learn what's happening on the inside from someone who knows. Emeryville City Council member Courtney Welch, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Andre?
Well, California's law blocking federal agents using masks now being challenged by the Justice Department. Now, the lawmakers behind that new rule are responding.
An update here to that breaking story, the truck that drove into the building in the Marina District this morning in San Francisco. Officials just got the truck out of the building and they have towed it away. What you're seeing here is surveillance video of the crash itself. Now to the scene. It's all happening near Lombard and Broderick, again in the Marina. San Francisco Fire was first on the scene, of course. Rescue workers there after getting the call. At least 3 vehicles are involved in this crash, and the tow trucks are in the process of pulling some of them away. Fire department says the driver of the pickup and 1 person inside the building were injured. We're staying on top of this breaking story. We'll have more for you throughout the morning here and on the Fox local app.
8:47 now. Senior Border Patrol agent Gregory Bovino is leading the Trump administration's immigration enforcement crackdown in North Carolina. Federal immigration agents are calling this latest crackdown Charlotte's Web. So far, they have made more than 200 arrests across the state. Bovino insists the agents are only targeting violent criminals, but North Carolina Governor Josh Stein says an ugly scene is happening in his state.
We've seen masked, heavily armed agents in paramilitary garb driving unmarked cars, targeting American citizens based on their skin color, racially profiling and picking up random people in parking lots and off of our sidewalks, going after landscapers. This is not making us safer. It's stoking fear and dividing our community.
Bovino was in charge of similar operations in Chicago and Los Angeles earlier this year. He has been the target of critics who say his immigration enforcement teams are far too aggressive.
The Trump administration is challenging California's ban on federal law enforcement officers wearing masks. The Department of Justice announced it's filed a lawsuit over the new No Secret Police Act, claiming the policy puts agents at risk by exposing their identity. State Senator Scott Wiener authored the bill in response to recent immigration enforcement by federal agents who were wearing masks while making the arrests. It is the first such law in the nation, set to go into effect in January. State Senator Wiener responded to the legal challenge, saying the Trump administration is once again proving that they care more about their own unchecked power to kidnap and intimidate than they do about lowering the cost of living, following the Constitution, or releasing the Epstein files. Despite what these would-be authoritarians claim, no one is above the law. Senator Wiener adds, we'll see you in court. There could be some new types of businesses in Oakland's Jack London Square as lawmakers seek to bring new life to the area. Right now, the Port of Oakland says a little over half of the ground floor space in Jack London Square is vacant. Jack London is seen as one of Oakland's most important commercial districts. It has struggled over the years. Starting in the new year, a new law lifts restrictions on what kinds of businesses can operate there. Merchants and locals say the change is long overdue.
I remember working a Monday afternoon shift and every seat was full the entire time. They used to do more events. The farmers market had more people and more stalls there. All of it just seems everything's kind of shrunken down a bit.
The new bill means things like barbershops, nail salons, and grocery stores could be allowed. There's also news of a Dave & Buster's planning to open in a vacant space along the waterfront.
Well, today the 49ers are expected to hold workout for kickers after kicker Eddie Pinheiro was injured in Sunday's win over the Arizona Cardinals. Head coach Kyle Shanahan says Pinheiro has a strained hamstring and is expected to miss some time, but he didn't say how long. Several other defensive players were also injured in that win, but Shanahan said he was impressed with Brock Purdy's return from injury.
I haven't talked to him today, gave the players the day off, a victory Monday, plus would have happened probably anyways with it being an 8-day week with us playing on a Monday night. But we're all getting away from each other a little bit next 2 days, and we'll get back together after that. But just talking to him last night, I know he felt pretty good and seemed like checked out all right.
49ers get an extra day off this week before playing on Monday Night Football when they'll take on the Carolina Panthers at Levi Stadium.
It's 8:50, and finally we're getting some improvement, but not a lot. And that part of it is because we had a couple of things in San Francisco and on the bridge. We had a crash clearing from the Bay Bridge and also a stalled truck on 101 connector to, on 80 connector to 101. So the Bay Bridge has been terrible. In fact, look, it's backed up. It's basically one long line of traffic backed up from Highway 13 all the way to the toll plaza. You don't want to do that. And, boy, it's really beginning to affect 80 as well, and that's because of those problems. So if you have to go to San Francisco today, would be a great time to take BART. BART does not have any major issues. It's a great way to get into San Francisco. At 8:51, let's bring Steve back with today's weather.
That's a lot of red, Sal.
It's one of the biggest back. It's even worse than yesterday.
I would agree. Thank you, sir. All right. Well, if you're north, actually San Francisco, Oakland north, you're like, well, let the sunshine in. My goodness, it's already there. Low clouds are moving south, still over parts of the peninsula, San Jose, Santa Clara Valley. They'll start to move south and continue, but more sunshine today. Temperatures 40s, 50s. The city did make it to 51, which is normal low for this time of year. They've had the warmest lows so far this month. Upper 40s, 50s on the temps here. A little bit of drizzle is possible, but I think more of that is now south. I think we're probably done with that if there's a little bit hanging on. You can see the circulation of the low. It's right there off of Central California, heading down to Los Angeles, and it'll give them some more rain, although nothing compared to what they had on the weekend. But our next system is looking weaker with time. We'll get some rain out of it on Thursday into Thursday night, and then I think it's gone, and then the next 7 to maybe 10 days are favoring being on the dry side. We'll have to watch out for tule fog. There'll be a lot of that after the rain we've had this month, but mostly sunny, I think, after we get to the afternoon hours today, and highs pretty close to where they should be this time of year, you guys, low 60s.
All right, Steve, thanks so much. A growing number of kids are leaning on their devices more than ever. When you join us on the 9, new strategies popping up to help children unplug. Electric vehicle owners have another way to charge their vehicles in San Francisco. Iona opens its latest recharge location in the Soma neighborhood. It is a joint venture of 8 of the world's biggest car makers, including BMW, GM, and Honda. The electric car charging company already has stations installed in more than a dozen states. This new one in the city features 10 fast charging bays. This brings the number of publicly accessible chargers in the city to more than 1,200.
Climate change is the existential crisis. There are many issues that our mayor and our supervisor and we are working on to address crises of the day here on our streets. But in our lifetimes, our children will not forgive us if we don't figure out how to get to 100% clean energy.
Iona says its stations offer fast charging for multiple car brands. The company plans to continue rolling out charging stations across the U.S.
A high school football coach in San Jose is publicly challenging the school's account of his recent departure. Former Bellarmine College prep football coach David Diaz-Infante told the Bay Area News Group he did not step down, that he was fired by the administration. The school's official statement announced that Diaz-Infante was voluntarily stepping down from the position after 3 seasons and characterized it as a mutual separation.
Well, the White House House has announced a new FIFA pass to fast-track visa interviews for World Cup ticket holders. The State Department is preparing for a major increase in visa applications, with more than 6 million fans expected to attend games here in the U.S., in Mexico, and in Canada. The new pass is meant to make the process simpler and quicker. The 2026 FIFA World Cup draws will be held in just a few weeks. Levi Stadium, of course, will host 6 World Cup matches next summer.
A Wall Street billionaire is joining President Trump's push for a 50-year mortgage. Billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman will release a new proposal today for mortgage companies, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Ackman says it'll help the Trump administration achieve its objective of making home buying more affordable. Financial advisors, though, note that while the monthly cost of home ownership would drop, the long-term effect of a 50-year mortgage could trap people in debt for much of their lives, given the extra years of mortgage interest. UC Regents will vote tomorrow on whether to raise tuition for the system's nearly 300,000 students. The Regents say a tuition hike may be necessary to offset the recent Trump administration cuts, a big reduction in state funding, and growing inflation. Students plan to protest outside tomorrow's Regent meeting at UCLA. They say the proposed tuition hike would have a devastating financial impact on students from low-income families.
8:57 is your time. The U.S. Postal Service has announced shipping prices. They are going up, and it's happening early next year. That includes an almost 7% hike for Priority Mail and a 5% hike for Priority Express. The price increase starts January 18th. The cost of first-class stamps will remain the same.
The Marin County town of Ross has become the second municipality there to ban the sale of all tobacco products. Supervisors approved the ban last week. The only testimony opposing the policy came from a lobbyist from the National Association of Tobacco Outlets who said a ban would send the wrong message to future entrepreneurs. Tiburon approved a similar ban earlier this month.
Well, the San Francisco Department of Public Health has confirmed a case of active tuberculosis linked to Archbishop Reardon High School. Health officials say the person is now in isolation and the risk to the public is low. TB spreads through prolonged close contact. The health department is contacting anyone exposed to this for testing. The city reported 91 active TB cases last year and will update the public if more measures are needed in this case. It is 8:58. We'll be right back with Mornings on 2 to 9. It will start just about 60 seconds from now. Stay with us.